Okay, so there are only a few keys that should be of interest to us. The first one is the Alt key, ALT here, and the other one is the Control key. If I can zoom up just a little bit, hopefully you'll get to see it. Okay, so you have the Alt key and the Control key. Those are the only two keys you need to consider. Okay, I'm going to zoom out again. Okay, so let's do the fun stuff, which is to control the mouse. So just see this, when I move the cursor about, so this is my scene in my virtual world. You can see the mouse cursor, right now it's a hand. If I were to press the Alt key, this, as you can see, turns into a plus sign. And now what I'm going to do is, let's say I want to look closely at the face of this character. So I'm going to place my cursor on the face and I drag my mouse up. It zooms in, I drag it out, it zooms out. Okay, so that's how you actually zoom in and zoom out around a specific target point. So if I were to find this little guy behind the girl and I want to zoom in close to that person, I would actually do the same. I put the cursor on the person's head and then I drag my mouse left and right, and that's how I'm able to zoom to the different characters. And remember, throughout I have the Alt key pressed. I press the Alt key to turn the cursor into this new cursor that has a plus sign. So if I were to look at the shoes of this little guy here, I would put my cursor on the person's shoe, on the non-player character's shoe, keeping my Alt key pressed, and then my left key for my mouse is pressed and I drag. Okay, so let me do this again. Alt key, get the plus sign. My finger is on the left button of the mouse, left click, drag in to zoom in, drag out to zoom out, drag left to move my camera towards the left, drag right to move the camera, the opposite way. So that's how you just experiment and see how the camera behaves. Okay, one more thing I want to introduce here, the Control key. Now if I want, let's say, to look at the person's nose here, press my Alt key, I get my plus sign, left click on my mouse, I drag, I'm actually able to zoom in and out. Okay, but what if I want to look from above and from below? Then I add a new key press, which is the Control key. When I do this, I have two keys that are pressed, the Alt and the Control key, and now I can actually, and you can see that the icon has changed as well, to a new one. And if I left click and drag down and up, I can actually look from the top and look from the bottom. Okay, simple. So if I were to do the same thing with the eye of the person, I move the cursor towards the eye, I press the Alt key to get the plus sign, I zoom in the eye. Okay, now I'm getting a bit too close. I'm dragging, I'm looking around, and now I want to look a bit from the top. I press my Control key and I drag in addition to the Alt key, and I drag the mouse up and down so I can look around. So these three keys, Alt, Control, and the left key on your mouse, with those three you can pretty much do anything you want as far as looking around is concerned. So I press my Alt key, I can back out, I can, for example, look, maybe check the house through the window here, and I can look at many different things without actually moving. So I see some bananas on the table. I want to look at those fruits in here. I press my control key because now I want to move to look from the top. And you can see I can have pretty much look anywhere I want. You know, if I want to look at a little strawberry here, Alt key, zoom in, control, look around. Okay, I just got, you know, I'm going to respond to a friend here and say something. Okay, so that's using the keyboard and the mouse. Right. Now let's do the same thing for the widget. Remember here the widget was hidden. It's usually not visible, but if you go to the menu and then you find your camera controls and you have your widget, the little widget. Okay. So how you use this is that you still need to use the Alt key. You know, let's say I want to look at the pineapple, okay? But now I'm not going to use my mouse button and the other and the keyboard right now. I just keep the Alt key pressed, and what I'll do is I can click on the object of interest. So that's it, and then I release everything. And I can use these widgets here to look around the pineapple. So if I click like this, I'm going to look around the pineapple. As you can see, I can look from above just by clicking on the top arrow. I can look from below. I can look from the left. I can look from the right and look around. Okay, and if I want to look closer to the pineapple, I can actually zoom in and zoom out by clicking on the plus sign here on the widget, clicking on the minus sign here on that same widget. Okay, so let's practice and look at another object. Let's say I want to look at the flower in the pot, in the flower pot, in the flower vase, whatever that is on the table. Okay. So I press on my Alt key, I click on, let's say on the flower. So that's going to, you know, to tell the system that I'm interested in this object. And now what I do, I use the same mechanism. I click on the plus sign, and you can see that I'm going to get to zoom close to the flower. Now I want to look around the flower. I can actually do this. So I'm going to look around the flower. If I want to look from the top of the flower, and if you want to look from the bottom of the flower, if I want to zoom out, it's very simple. So I'm not touching my keyboard here. Okay, I rarely use this one, which is basically, it's like sliding the camera left and right, up and down. It's up to you. Okay, so to summarize, if you want to use the widget, especially in this viewer, okay, the first thing you need to do is to find a target. Okay, that's how I use it. I find the target. Let's say I want to look at the bread, find my target, and I use, you know, this widget to look around the bread. Can zoom in, can zoom out. So that's simple. And remember, when you want to snap out of the camera controls, always just hit escape.